Yeah, it's your boy Crypto Blood, and welcome to another Kicking It session. And today, fellas, I have the gentleman of crypto. It's been a while, guys. Thanks for coming back on. What's good, man? It's a lot going on in the crypto world. That's for
Crazy.
sure.
Thanks for having us. Right on time, right?
Right on time. Perfect time.
Nice little bump today.
Feeling like 2017 all over, huh?
Nah, I don't know about all that. I wish, but
Don't start the FOMO early.
Yeah, exactly. So before we get into crypto and all that good stuff, the last time I talked to you guys, it was before Nipsey's death. That shocked the hip hop world, man. And I know Zay was really a huge fan of him. Kind of tell me, Zay, your thoughts on his legacy, going forward. How do you think we can keep that marathon going, as they say?
Oh, yeah. Well, from a crypto standpoint, everybody knows Nipsey was big in cryptocurrency. So,
Yep.
But what I do, definitely pushing forward, making sure more and more people know about it. And him dying, it didn't stop anything. It basically opened people up to see about cryptocurrency because everybody was looking through his interviews, looking through what he was talking about. That's definitely one of the big things. So as far as keeping the marathon going, everybody that's in LA that needs to learn about cryptocurrency definitely needs to hear from me or from somebody like me. So yeah, definitely doing that for him.
Good.
Shout out to Nipsey.
Yeah, man, and we had my man Jay-Z Hove. He actually came out. What was it? Webster Hall. Did a nice little venue and shouted out Nipsey, and that was great to see. He did a little freestyle. If you guys didn't hear it, I'll try to make sure I leave a link. But it was good to see Nipsey, get some support from Jay-Z. After his passing. Did you guys see any of the clips? Because he had Nas,
Cameron,
Nas and Jay-Z they squashed their beef, but Cameron, that was a shocker for me, man.
Yeah.
I thought money make the world go round.
Yeah, right. So on to the crypto stuff. Tether, what is going on, man? What are your thoughts about Tether? They came out and said it was 74% backed by their reserves. I actually thought that was pretty high. I was shocked. What about you guys?
I mean, I think they're just coming out telling everybody what we've already known for the most part. But it's kind of convoluted where, I'm not just right now blaming Tether because all the facts aren't out and who knows they'll ever get out, right? But
right.
You got the New York AG spearheading this thing. And, as we said on our show, the New York AG is not a superhero, all right? This is another villain for the crypto community. They're working with the likes of Gemini, Coinbase, as well as the Wall Street people to make them happy. You talking about JP Morgan now doing their JPM coin. The New York AG knows all this, all right? Watch the show Billions. Like, they're in the loop on all this. So my point is, this attack on Tether, while it may be warranted or not, the inception of this attack is really coming from a place of, you all have first movers advantage. You're the number one stable coin. We need to move you out the way so we can either create our own or the ones that we are okay with, like Gemini, we can get them up and really running right now. Because literally within the same week of all this Tether news coming out, where we heard about Paxos printing $10 million in stable coins, Gemini had a release, and then I think just yesterday there was another one. But in general, when it comes to this, again, Tether and them only being 74% back, that may have came from the insolvency problem over at Bitfinex, because Bitfinex, of course, had the $851 million they're supposedly missing or allegedly missing. They partnered with Tether, of course, same CEO. So he may just be moving funds from Tether to Bitfinex to cover down on that. And because of that, now Tether is looking, well, we don't have the money to back it up. Either way it goes, this is why I didn't trust stablecoins to begin with, because it's not one-to-one. How are you cutting?
Yeah, Zay, what do you think?
Yeah. And I was gonna say, one of the best parts about this is what I said from a fractional reserve banking aspect is fractional reserve is mainly 10% or below, only 3% if it's less than 100 million. So I was saying that if they wanted to operate as a crypto bank, they would actually have a good way to flip it into a great market and say, hey, at least we're 74% solvent as compared to banks. But they didn't. They said they were one-to-one stable coins, and I think that's where the outcry comes from. But if I was their marketing team, I would flip it. I would say, hey, we're better than regular banks. We're at least at 74%. Come on over to Bitfinex. But it looks like the Chinese are holding it down for them. We saw that in some reports as well, too. So they're not going down without a fight. But
no, they're not going
bad.
down. Period. In my opinion, I think it's it's a non-event. Yeah, they weren't fully back 1-to-1, but that's after their debacle. With them losing their funds or access to their capital from crypto capital. So they may have actually been 1-to-1 at some point, and not too distant past. So I personally, like you guys said, I think it's a non-event. 74 is better than 1%. I know I saw Max Kaiser, my guy Max Kaiser, put on a tweet like Bitfinex or Tether backed by 74%. What did he say? The Fed's backed by 1%, and JP Morgan backed by negative 20%. So unbacked, he said, basically unbacked. That way, yes.
Well, I mean, I think we're at the same time that we're kind of making excuses because the point of it being 1-to-1 is so that people don't have to literally leave the crypto market in totality. They can stay in it in the stable coin and still kind of trade on the platform. So I do think it's a big deal because I mean, granted, if you're really trading and you really know what's going on, then you already knew it wasn't a 1-to-1. I mean, come on, really?
Yeah.
But I think it's just more important is like, hey, like, be honest, like, say the truth. As you said, though, the only thing we don't know is this could have been recent as of, hey, we're not 1-to-1 as of 2 weeks ago since New York AG started poking around.
Right.
But I will say one interesting thing about this story, not one, but a bigger interesting piece that's coming up now is this IEO that Bitfinex is trying to do, the initial exchange offering,
correct?
Which of course is like a billionaire's wet dream.
Yep.
They're doing that IEO for $1 billion, so they're hoping to solve that insolvency problem and have a little kicker at the end. So I think that's pretty interesting to look at as well to see what happens with it.
Yeah, follow the money.
Yeah, and my thing is, King, I hear you on that. I don't think it's a big deal, bro. Like, because if we live on a fractional reserve system of 1% globally, 74% is excellent, bro. Like, I mean, in my opinion, like, I think that's actually shows the crypto world that at least there is more accountability. There has to be a little bit more accountability in the crypto markets versus the opaque, traditional markets that we come from. So I don't think it'll ever. I mean, you do have a few stable coins out there that are fully back 1-to-1. I think Gemini, right? USDC is another one. Is Paxo as well, or?
They're supposed to be.
Who knows? But they print money on Monday nights.
Yeah, because even Gemini, I would say, is questionable simply because I've seen a few reports where people with high value accounts can't move money. Like, they literally just stop them from moving to a bank or moving it off. So technically, they could be doing the same thing, just haven't been found out yet because they're on the New York AG side. They got the New York Bit license.
See, to me, that's the issue. That right there is the issue. It's not about what we're doing better than this market.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take it back to my football days. I had to walk on to my D1 school. I got a scholarship, but my coach used to tell me, he was like, hey, you're a walk-on. You have to be better than everyone. You can't make any mistakes. So that's the same thing right now. Crypto is 10 years old. We are literally under attack 24/7, every piece of the industry. So in this case, it can't be, well, they're better than the traditional market at 74%. It's like, no, you have to do what you're saying you're coming as advertised, because if not, no one's going to leave the legacy market that they've been in since, their entire generation, their parents' entire generation, because they're going to go to a new place where they're already being lied to on day one. So I think it's a very important thing that they're up front, and them being 74% back, as we see with the price, it didn't affect anything in the market or the price.
Because and the reason why I have a theory about why it really didn't affect anything is because it was already priced in as far as, so essentially, if I'm going to panic and do a bank run on Tether, that's a self-inflicting gun wound. If I'm an exchange, or if I'm so I give you this scenario. I talked to someone in the comments about this. I said the person or entity that's at risk most are the exchanges, because if people did start to panic, they sold their Tether back to all of the exchanges that actually distribute Tether, then those individuals, those exchanges would have to give them whatever they wanted in exchange for Tether. So if it's Bitcoin, if it's Litecoin, whatever, right? Any of the altcoins. So now these exchanges are holding this Tether that's not back 1-to-1, supposedly or whatever. And now they're holding the bag. The exchange is holding the bag. So the systemic risk is really with the exchange. And at that point, I mean, I think they could. I just think that margin is so small that it's systemically not a risk, and most people aren't running for the exit.
Well, yeah, for the market, it isn't. I agree with you on that. On the market, it's not a risk. But even bigger, I think one thing we overlook or no one even really talks about is the fact that we don't know how many customers are actually using Tether. We don't know about the actual client volume. We know about maybe the amount that's out there on the market. And I say that because I don't think that many people are even using Tether. I tried to sign up for Tether back in like May, maybe not. It was probably like March or April of 2017. And long story short, I was never able to fully be able to utilize that account. It was just frozen in place because of the support issues that were happening. So I don't even think people are using Tether like that. I think there's a handful of people with a lot of money in the Tether, but by and large, I don't even think most of the market is using it.
Yeah, it's probably not mostly individuals, as you stated. It's probably exchanges. Exchanges and companies are most likely the biggest bag holders of Tether, and that's who's really using that and distributing that on the exchanges, in my opinion.
No, I was just gonna say all I know is 851 million is a number to keep the story interesting, right?
That's a lot of money, man, and it's a lot from an absolute perspective, but relatively is not. It's a drop in the bucket in this industry, and that probably lends to why we did not see much of an issue as far as price. And actually, prices kind of started going up after the initial panic of the market. It rebounded, so we'll have to see what happens. A part of this whole Tether situation, we've got a new situation with this. It's always getting deeper here, man. So it looks like an ex-NFL player has something to do with this whole Tether debacle, and Crypto Capital, which is the shell company out in, I think, Panama or something. I don't know where they're located.
Of course.
Right. What do you guys feel about this situation? Looks like he's got something to do with it. The plot thickens, it looks like.
Well, the guy, as I mentioned, you're talking about the former co-owner of the Vikings, Reginald Fowler, him and another dude, they're being charged with bank fraud and conspiracy or having unlicensed money transmission business. And of course, they have shell companies, so this makes it even more suspicious. But in the naming of them in the article, I think we're going to see more of this, actually.
Yeah, I was thinking that
a lot of crypto companies and crypto investment groups.
They're over $1 billion.
Yeah, if they're big money,
investigations can get dirty.
I promise you, these investigations will start reaching into governors,
real quick,
and big time ball players. Because honestly, these funds that get built this big, they can get capital, but that quick, you're going to have people involved who have that amount of money to lend to you. And a lot of times, entertainers, athletes, they have business partners who put them in these groups unknowingly. Then something happens, and then it comes on the document. Oh yeah, such and such was a part of the investment group. They're like, I was.
He like crypto. I don't know what crypto is. I'm like,
what are you talking about? You told me to set up these companies and everything was the case. So I'm honestly not surprised that this type of name pops up. I'm just surprised that it hasn't happened more often. It's going to in the future, but I just think it hasn't been enough investigations yet. For it to,
I agree. It's coming. It's definitely coming. I agree with you guys on that one. Let's talk about Nike. This is a topic that came up earlier this week, and they're looking to at least coin a term, a crypto term, which is Cryptokicks. What do you guys think about this? Is this something that we should be excited about? Is it going to have a big impact on crypto?
I would say my initial thoughts are super corny.
Yeah.
However,
very corny.
However, for mass adoption purposes, and if Nike can do it the right way, I think it's actually an excellent idea. If they can make a really cool shoe, I mean, just, I don't know, something different. Of course, it doesn't have to be an athletic shoe, perhaps, because even Nike's an athlete's type of brand, athletic brand. Crypto people aren't all athletic, so it doesn't even have to be an athletic shoe, but if Nike can make a shoe, Cryptokicks, branded the right way, and actually allow you to pay with it, or only allow you to pay with it in any cryptocurrency or something like that, I think it could be a wild success. Can you imagine that if Nike had a 1 month special where they sell these crypto shoes and you can only pay for them in Bitcoin or something? Who wouldn't go get those?
Yeah. Or if they had their own crypto and you got 10% off for using their cryptocurrency instead. and also different rewards. Because I know there's companies now that give you rewards in crypto based on what you spend. So I'm sure they're looking at something like that. And Cryptokicks, they can go crazy with that idea as far as having a shoe. Imagine a shoe, because nobody owns a Bitcoin logo. They could technically take it or
they'll try to own
chop it up
real
somehow.
Quick,
oh yeah, and imagine a Nike shoe with like a Bitcoin emblem on the back. That would be wild. People would go crazy for that. I mean, most people that have maybe heard of crypto, maybe not, they see Nike is accepting it, like, oh yeah, this is legit now. It's real, even though it's been real to people like us for a while.
And of course, you know, this is us being positive. Like we start off with, more than likely it's going to be corny, right? Like, I mean, positivity coming out. We're hoping they do this type of stuff, but I mean, realistically, you know, how is this going to Cryptokicks? How is this going to go down?
Yeah, we'll see, man. I think if anything, not the actual nomenclature, the naming of it, but the implementation of it may be what's important and what will, you know, kind of bring light to cryptos. Here's my thing. What I envisioned when I first saw that, I read the article, and the article never even mentioned this, but what about crypto? You know, what's it? ERC 721?
721, yeah.
And as an asset, right? What if they actually had each shoe have its own value? And it kind of go that way, you know what I mean? And so cool. You have a QR code or some way you can track it inside the actual shoe, and then you can trade, almost like StockX, what we're doing up here in Detroit with StockX. You're trading different kicks and stuff, but actually having a value placed on that shoe. Maybe some of the limited edition ones or something. I don't know. That's what I thought of. But if they're just going to use it as a name and then you can redeem it for a crypto, that's not the pain point. Like, that's what we have to, in cryptos, we have to get normal people who don't use cryptocurrencies. What is the pain point? Why would I, as a person that doesn't use crypto today, I don't know about fractional reserve, I don't know about any of these things that we all know about, how do I attract that person to cryptocurrencies? In my opinion, it's got to be some type of pain point that we're solving, and we're throwing stuff at the wall, but I'm just not seeing it yet. What do you guys think? What's a pain point that we can
30% off exclusive kicks?
There you
I
go.
guarantee you people will be lining up.
There you go. That's funny you said that, because back in the day, and Zay, you probably know this, the very few online shops that accepted Bitcoin, or even brick and mortars, they were very rare, but 2013, 14, they gave you steep discounts to use Bitcoin. So there you have it. That's a very straightforward way to do it. You know, that's a pain point. You giving a person a steep discount in exchange for that Bitcoin. But that person's got it. That merchant's got to have big faith in crypto, because they would have to hold it, right?
I think we talked about this last time in the show, man. We got to have that event. It literally has to be that event where, oh my, I need my money, and it's either, well, it's not worth as much, or, you know, you can't have it right now, or no, we need to bail somebody out again. I think it's got to be one of those big events.
We need a JG Wentworth event, huh?
Hey, you know what I mean?
It's my money and I need
consolidations.
Right. It's my money and I need it now.
Right. Did you see that new gold commercial, matter of fact?
Yeah. With Grayscale, talking about that with store of value with Drop Gold.
Oh no, I saw the article, but I did not.
The commercial's amazing.
Commercial's hilarious.
Okay, yeah. So what's going on with that?
Well, they have basically a whole campaign called Drop Gold. Grayscale does.
Okay.
Run by Barry Silver. And it's basically, as a store of value, they're showing Bitcoin's better than gold. And the commercial basically shows people trying to lug around gold, hundreds of pounds worth of gold, which is impossible, of course. And then, like we've always said, if you try and spend it, you're not going to shave off portions of it. Right. You're not going to be able to transport it across international waters in case of, when people say there may be a big emergency and you need money, gold is definitely not the way you want it. It's probably the worst way to do it.
Yeah, it's heavy too, man. Gold is
the whole
very
campaign
heavy.
is funny, but the commercial is great.
Yeah, it's like a bank run, but for gold. And it's just, I mean, as you said, I imagine it's like, imagine you just go outside today because there's a financial crisis. There's a guy wheelbarrowing gold down the street.
Not gonna happen.
Get some of that.
That's our goal.
Yeah, like, oh yeah, we're gonna share this today.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen, man. And honestly, even on a supply side, I talked about this.
Mm-hmm.
We know for sure there are 21 million Bitcoins.
Yep.
We do not know how much gold there is underground.
Yep.
We know above ground supply levels. We do not know below ground. So that's
keep finding gold.
Yeah, absolutely. So
and even then, do we know above ground?
Yeah.
I mean, hey, governments have lied about worse. Tuskegee, all right?
Yeah,
you expect me to believe you about all the gold?
Yeah. No, I mean, I hear you, but I guess you want to call it yearly financial reports that a lot of these private companies do and track different miners, junior and senior miners. They have not from the government, but private sector wise, we kind of know roughly how much is above ground. But yeah, Bitcoin is definitely superior to gold, man.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So lastly, before we wrap up, we got that crypto. This is almost like, man, I'm gonna tell you what this is like. This is like what is it called? Love and hip hop. We're gonna call this love and crypto.
Oh man.
We got Craig Wright, we got my man John McAfee, we got Roger Ver. It's just like a love triangle, man, or a hate triangle.
Celebrity death match right here. Need to bring that back.
Man, they do. What is going on with this whole situation? Let's start off with Craig Wright, man.
Well, Craig Wright, in my opinion, of seeing what he's doing, he is someone who understands on the business side, he can get away with a lot of stuff, but he's masquerading as a crypto person. So in the business world, the stuff he does, I think, would be on par with what everybody else does, suing people, creating your own products based off of derivative. People do it all the time in business, but in crypto, nobody wants that. So he's running into a lot of issues, which is why I think he's suing random people like Peter McCormick, who's a podcaster, Roger Ver now, for different things. And of course, the fork of a fork for his Satoshi's vision. These are all things in business that have been done for years, but Craig Wright doesn't understand, I guess, in crypto, nobody really wants to hear what he has to say. And then the people that do, they're not crypto people usually. They're businessmen or from different sectors. So,
but was it right for us as a community to ban his coin from? Well, it wasn't us. It was more so.
Well, that's why I say pissed off the wrong person.
It shouldn't have been listed to begin with. So that was my issue with it. It was like, well, you should have listed it. So now all of a sudden, you all are showing yourselves to be just like banks and centralized powers because you don't like him. He's getting kicked out the cool kids club if you have it. But regardless of Craig Wright, I think what he's doing, I mean, kind of piggyback on you with the business stuff. In general, I think this goes back to that New York agreement in that hotel a couple years ago where everyone's trying to fork out Bitcoin, basically to own Bitcoin, to privatize it. That's what all this is about when you talk about Roger Ver, Craig Wright, some of these bigger names in it, even Coinbase and Gemini, Shroom at this point. They're starting to realize, I mean, it took me a couple years to see it almost, but there's two ways to do this, but they're basically saying, hey, it's a new industry. There's even more new people coming in. And all we literally have to do to run this industry is have enough money for marketing and then just tell people we're the experts and we're in charge and our coin's the best coin and this and that. And that's what they're all doing at this point. They're all just, hey, staking their claim in the cryptocurrency industry.
Yeah. But, again, to my point of, was it right for Kraken? Now, Kraken's the latest exchange to ban BSV. I don't like Craig Wright personally. I think he's a scam. And I actually think he stole a lot of money from that Clayman guy or whatever is the guy, the deceased guy. And Craig Wright is,
I wouldn't doubt it.
Craig Wright is actually being sued by them, the state of this guy. Yeah. So I think that story really holds a lot of weight and probably shows us why Craig acts the way he does is because he thinks he's going to be able to stake claim on this $10 billion worth of Bitcoin at, I think, current prices. Yep. Yeah. So, but to say all that, I do not think, as you stated, if you're going to list a coin for a particular set of criteria, you need to delist it for the same reason and not bring emotions. And it's so much emotion in this crypto game. And that's the only thing I hate about this industry, man. Is all the people that call things FUD whenever you talk about an article, or not an article, but bring up an article or a subject that's against what their bag is. It's FUD.
It's scams.
It's scam. So my thing is, if you listed him for this reason, you should be delisting him for this reason. Delist it when there's no one trading it, because the volume dropped below where it's supposed to. If it's still a substantial amount of volume, let that be.
I'm with it. Yeah. I mean, especially when you talk about from a trading perspective, the market decides that.
There you go.
Not the company, right?
Not your Twitter.
You're just you're hosting. You're hosting this. You shouldn't be the person that's actually in there calling plays and stuff. What's going on? You're hosting this event, not coaching it. So.
Yeah. So, what are your thoughts about Roger Ver? I actually still like Bitcoin Cash a little bit more. I was disappointed they did the split. That hurt them, I think, from a PR perspective, and probably they lost a little steam with that. But what about Roger Ver? He's now being sued by Craig Wright.
I mean, to me, they all getting what they deserve. And just real quick before we go into, just to ask you, were you not surprised when the split from the B Cash? To me, that's the stuff where I'm just like, how weren't people surprised about the split? And then even right now, aren't you surprised that this is going on with the exchanges and Craig Wright? Like, the inception of all these people and their projects and what they're doing is coming from a bad place. So it's coming back it's coming back 3-6.
The BSV Bcash split was not surprising. But the way I saw the community Twitter, crypto Twitter, like kind of corral around banning and delisting BSV was shocking.
Yeah, that's true.
That was shocking.
Because I mean, people have had difference of opinions all of crypto ever.
Right.
But when you start getting, I guess, centralized exchanges now, you start to see how much power they have. And if you get it delisted off Binance, I mean, that's where all the volume was coming from, mostly because nobody's really using Bittrex or Poloniex. So,
and this is not on the list, but you bring up censorship, Bitcoin, crypto. They are now censoring Reddit. The Bitcoin Reddit thread is now being whitelisted, and you'll have to go through all these loops and channels to post stuff, man. It's crazy, man.
That's crazy.
So I'm concerned about us keeping that ethos of what cryptos were all about in the first place, and that's freedom, right? And less censorship. We're getting away from that. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. It's the big money's coming. The institutions are coming. The big money's coming, and some of these guys who already know each other from Wall Street are coming in, as you just stated, saying, "Who's Roger Ver and Craig Wright?" Like, no, watch out! Like, we're about to try it. So,
watch out,
it's getting crazy.
Yeah, and you never know who's kind of on the inside working to cause dissent within the crypto community.
It's true.
Could be one of these guys. Could be Craig Wright. That's basically here to just stir up trouble and make everything look like a mess, when in reality everything's actually going smooth.
So how do we mitigate this issue of censorship, of centralization? Not so much centralization from a standpoint of exchanges. We know, from a technology standpoint, how that can happen with decentralized exchanges. But I'm just talking more so safeguarding the community from all of this censorship. What are your solutions?
Well, as far as keeping them on the path where crypto was, we have to just keep reminding them, like we do on our daily show. Just keep reminding them what crypto is about. It's about freedom. It's about decentralization. But also, too, encouraging the use of decentralized exchanges, atomic swaps, and new projects that let you do things outside of the regular centralized exchanges. Because the more options you have, the less leverage they have, so to say. So, like Binance right now could delist BSV and it have an impact because they are one of only a few exchanges that do it. When you have hundreds of decentralized exchanges at some point, I don't think that'll be an issue. So the community will circle back to where it started.
Well, it's been a pleasure, guys, having you on for sure. We got to definitely do this more often. You guys can visit KRBE Crypto, the Gentlemen of Crypto, on their site. I have it linked on actually streaming on the screen right now, guys. So check them out. They have some merch. King Zay, you've actually got a not blockchain, but Blackchain project going on. Before we leave, tell us a little bit about that.
Oh yeah, well, it's a peer-to-peer platform and equity crowdfunding platform for minority businesses or any business in general. And honestly, the biggest aspect of it is the blockchain aspect, where trying to build the first blockchain syndicate fund to use cryptocurrency from anyone to fund businesses around the world. So making it easier on businesses to get funding and move forward from there.
Sweet. Just a quick funny story, man. I was at me and my business partner maybe about 2.5, 3 years ago. We were at a cigar lounge and we were at the bar, and this gentleman was like, asking us what we were doing or whatever. And I told him I was in cryptos and blockchain, and he was a white guy, and he said, "Blackchain, I've never heard of that." And I looked at my partner and I didn't even say nothing. I just let him. So throughout the night, he kept saying Blackchain. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go and look into this Blockchain stuff.
You got free promotion already.
Free promotion already.
Already 2 years ago. Who knew? So yeah, Zay, thank you. I hope you definitely get that going. And King, you got anything going on with you?
I'm under the radar right now. Just building. We're just building some things in the background, and we'll be rolling stuff out when it's time.
Nice. Well, again, the gentleman of crypto. Thank you guys for coming on to this Kicking It session. You guys make sure you like, share, and subscribe. And we out of here, people.
Hey, thanks for having us.
Appreciate you, man.
Lonnie for a nigga counterfeit.